Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and today, thanks to Photosura, I'm going to present you the Fujifilm X-A3. Let's start. So, very often people ask me if I could review some cameras that are not the latest cameras. Why? Because I have a limited budget, or because they don't want to spend more, because they cannot spend more. So they still want an acceptable camera quality and affordable. So they want everything in one. So the best option is, or you buy secondhand, or you buy something that is a bit older. So I asked Photosura what kind of camera I could recommend this way. And they told me that this X-A3, so I'm reviewing it, telling my opinion, okay? So this is a small camera, a bit larger than the smallest compact cameras, but still you can change lenses. You have on a Fujifilm X mount, it means you can actually mount all the lenses with the X mount, like the one you could put on your Fujifilm X-T4, X-T3, or any of these APS-C Fujifilm. Okay, so that's good news. The resolution is 24.2 megapixels, which I think is more than enough, and it does RAW file, obviously. So I say it because it's obvious to me, but many people ask me, it does RAW file and JPEG. Here you have a small flash, integrated flash. I'll come back to it later, but here it means in this space there is no viewfinder. You have a screen, orientable screen like this, okay, all this. So many people may be interested to use it for vlogging like this. Okay, I'll give you an example. Well, you can put it even straighter, okay, like this. I'll give you an example I made with my daughter Pino. Here it is. Vlogging test with Pino. The sound is directly from the camera. I don't know how it sounds. Say hola, hola, adios, adios, Pino. Bye bye. The memory card it uses is an SD card, UHS-1. And by the way, the picture I'm showing you and video I'm showing you in this review, some are similar to the one I showed in my review. I'll leave you the link here of the Canon G7X Mark III, because part of the reviews I made at both cameras at the same time, so I made similar pictures. Okay, so if you want to compare, the link is here. Okay. If we speak about image quality, the image quality I think is really good, it's really acceptable. Obviously it will depend on the lens you're using, but this kit lens is not a great lens, but the image quality is there, color wise, all this. So now I'm going to show you the ISO, how it behaves with a higher ISO. So ISO, they go from 200 ISO up to 6400 ISO, and you can actually force it down to 100 ISO and up to 12,800 ISO and 25,600 ISO. I think the ISO is acceptable up to 1600, savable on 3200, and after it's a bit more complicated. But I think it's always something a bit difficult, because there are some people that look at your picture and they get their magnifying glass at 800% and they say, oh, I found some noise behind a pixel. It's laughable, so like this. And other people, they tell, oh, my camera with 47 million ISO, which is impossible yet, okay? They tell you they have no noise, and when you look at the picture at 1600 ISO, it looks like a pizza. So it's really a matter of taste and the kind of situation you're using it, all this. But these are my results, okay? It has also face and eye detection, so I'll come back to focusing after, but it's important to say it already, because many people, they think only the X-T3, X-T4 and this have eye and face detection. It has it too. It's not perfect, it's acceptable. We take into account this is a 3-year-old camera, so it's okay to me, okay? There is no IBIS, but if the lens is stabilized, you get some stabilization. This lens is from 16 to 50 millimeter, and it has optical image stabilization, so that's okay. It's not wonderful, but that's acceptable, okay? Shutter speed. Well, you have the mechanical shutter, and goes from 4 seconds up to 1/4000th of a second, plus 30 seconds, plus bulb mode that goes up to 60 minutes. And then you have the electronic shutter that goes from 1 second up to 1/32,000th of a second. And you can actually combine both. I'm not getting into details, but for that kind of camera, I think that's okay. And take into account that this camera, when you look at the color, this is a pink one. You also have a black and a brown one, but always all this silver part and the lens come in silver in the kit. So it's like it's not a toy, but it's really a fun camera. The idea is like you for traveling or for someone who are starting. They don't take themselves too serious, as they don't want the typical black camera, because it does not exist in fully black. It's always silver and something. So when it aims to this market, you understand that the feature it gives are okay for this market. Then the flash synchro, you do have a hot shoe here. The flash synchronizes at 1/180th of a second. I would prefer to have 1/200th or 1/250th, but well, for that kind of camera, I think that's okay. I'm not going to do some fashion shoot with a flash speed light outdoor with that. I could probably, but that's not the kind of camera I would use, because you don't have viewfinder, so it's not too easy for me. I would prefer the viewfinder for that. So I think that's okay what they offer for this market. It does burst rate of 6 frames per second. That's not incredible, but same thing, that's enough. And then you have bracketing. You have exposure bracketing, 1/3, 2/3, and full stop. Film bracketing, you know that Fujifilm has a film simulation, analog film simulation, so you can pick 3 of the films and bracket with it. Then you have dynamic range bracketing, 100, 200, and 400%. ISO bracketing, 1/3, 2/3, 1 stop, and then white balance bracketing. Let's go back to the focusing. Obviously, you can do manual focusing, and it has focus picking, so you can precisely manually focus to know exactly where it is focused on your picture. Then you have single autofocus and then continuous autofocus. You have 77 focusing point, which is okay, and you can also combine autofocus plus manual focus, so you do autofocus and then you fine-tune manually. Okay, that's fine. The screen is 3-inch. As I said before, it's tiltable, it's fully touchable, so this is really good. And then we go to video. So video, I think I don't. There are things I don't understand. First, if you do this thing for vlogging, that would be logical to have some serious option about video, like a microphone connector, but there's no microphone connector. But if we speak about video speed, it does 60, 50, and 24 frames per second in full HD. You don't have 4K, but to me, that's not a problem to have no 4K. It's a 3-year-old camera. I don't use 4K anyway, but that would be okay. But 60, 50, and 24 frames per second, this is not logical. You do need 30 and 25 frames per second also, because for people who are in an area with 60 Hz electricity frequency, 60 and 24 are okay. 24 gives a cine look, but people who are in Europe like me, we want the 50 and also the 25. And we want 25 frames per second to have no flickering. And also, if you record with 2 cameras, this one and the second one, and you want to work on 25 frames per second or 30 frames per second, and what you've recorded with this one on 60 and 50 or 50, when you use it on the other one, then it's slow motion. So this is not what we want. So I think this is nonsense. Also, a vlogger could actually use it, but 60 or 50 frames per second, this makes larger file when you don't actually need it. Okay, so I don't know why they've put this. In HD 720p, also 60, 50, and 24 frames per second. In Full HD, it records maximum 14 minutes continuous, and in HD 27 minutes. It's a lot. It's little, well, it depends what you're doing. If you wanted to leave the camera recording like this and go around, that's a problem. But if you do normally 1-2 minute rush or 10 minutes rush, that's okay. That's more than enough. I think for that camera, that's okay. What I don't like is there is no special movie set on the wheel here. It means if I'm recording a video, I set properly for me, like I would do, like I put the shutter speed what I want, all this, and then when I go to picture, I have to set it again when I go back to movie, because there is no set here. So actually it goes to video recording when you actually press the record button. So then also it frames from 3:2 down to 16:9 ratio, but until you start recording, you don't see that. So if you want to frame, until you start recording, you cannot frame properly. So this is a nonsense. I think all of this camera is 3 years old. They should have solved that a long time ago. And this is why I think this camera is not good for video. I would not buy that for video, maybe for occasional video, but I would buy it for photography. Okay. Then film simulation, as you know, Fujifilm makes and made and still makes analog film, so you can actually pick. They have here 11 film simulation. By the way, before to have the results, you needed to work in JPEG only. Now you can work in RAW, and if you're in Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom, you can actually get a simulation of this film in Adobe Lightroom, but it's made by Adobe. And if you do it with Capture One by Phase One, there is a free version for Fujifilm, then it will apply directly the look of your film on your RAW files. So that's okay, no problem anymore, okay? You also have advanced filters like toy filter, special effects, all that. Something I never use, I don't like it, but some people love it, so it's in there also. You can do time-lapse, also panoramic picture. I leave you here a sample of a panoramic picture. Double exposure, something I really don't like, but people really were fond of this when they were doing analog photography. When you make a shoot here, a shoot there, and then it stacks both pictures on top of each other, so you have double exposure. Well, you can do that with this camera. Also, something I think is really useful, many people will be traveling with a camera like this. They still want to work with RAW files, but maybe they don't have access to a computer while traveling. So you can actually edit your RAW file into a JPEG in the camera. So if you want then to send it to social networks, you can actually do it. You don't have to wait to go to a computer. That's good. It has Wi-Fi. Also here I will open, you have micro USB and micro HDMI. You don't have a microphone connector. By the way, the Wi-Fi will connect to the Fujifilm app, and you can actually control completely your camera from the app. Okay, not just part of it, completely. That's good. Then so if we look at the USB, it's a micro USB. You can actually connect here to charge the battery. It's not that you can, you must connect there because Fujifilm, as always, have been claiming for years now, they don't put any charger that lets you take out the battery and place it in the charger and then use your camera with a second battery in the meantime. Now you need to connect here. So if you want this charger, as I said, you need to buy it separately as an option. So here you can connect USB. You must connect your USB cable and charger that comes in there, a USB charger, to the camera to charge the battery. Okay, the battery has not much capacity. It gives you 410 pictures. I always claim that it should be minimum 500, but this camera is 3 years old, so well, okay, for the price it has right now, that's okay. Could be better, but that's okay. Okay. And by the way, the SD card is placed here. So here you have a hot shoe for your flash. I think this is good in case you want to remote trigger flash, or you want to put a flash on your camera. It's possible. Many cameras this size don't have this hot shoe, so I think that's good news. So my opinion about this camera, I think this is a great little camera for the price it has now, and for someone who wants to start in photography or want to have a second body, I think this is a good option. Why? Because although the kit lens is not very good, the price is really low right now. So it means you could perfectly start with this and then go buying new lenses. And then when you can afford it, or you need it, or you want it, get a higher level body by Fujifilm and use the lenses you've been buying. So I think it's a good way to step into photography, starting with an affordable camera and build your lenses kit, okay? And when you can get a better body. But for many people, this body will be enough for years, okay? It all depends what you want to do. It's easy to use, it's nice to use, image quality is good. So I think it's a recommendable camera. Yes, it is. Maybe 3 years ago, the price it had when it came out, I'm not sure I would have recommended it, but now for the price it has nowadays, I think you can still find it. I think the price is good. So, or secondhand also. Would I recommend it for vloggers or no video? No, really, I would recommend for photography, really, more than anything else, okay? Obviously, I don't like cameras without a viewfinder. For that, I prefer to have my smartphone. But it's true, the sensor is a lot larger than a smartphone. You can change lenses and you can orientate the screen. So actually, I missed the viewfinder, but the rest is really great. That's good. Nothing to complain about on this side. Okay, so do I recommend a camera like this at 3 years old? Yes, no doubt. I recommend it. What does it compete with? I would say it competes with maybe on Alpha 6000 or maybe on Olympus OMD 10 Mark II or Mark III, maybe. It could be around that, you know. But it's always hard to see the equivalent, but I would say that. So thank you very much, Photosura, for lending me the camera. I hope you like the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The small button down here and also a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. I'll also leave you links to other part of my YouTube channel and also a link to my PayPal account for people who want to make a donation. I always appreciate. So please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.